Hey guys, what's going on? Brandon Vitro here, and in this video, we're going to be talking about how you can invest in the stock market for the first time. Even if you have no idea what you're doing and you're just kind of curious, I'm going to teach you very simple ways that you can get started in the stock market with only a couple of dollars. So you don't need a bunch of money to do this, and it's not really going to cost you anything. And we're going to go through it step by step so you can start learning how to make money using the stock market. So the first thing you need to do to invest in the stock market is just to hit the like button. Just kidding, but what you actually want to do first is determine how you personally want to invest in the stock market. So there's a lot of different ways to invest, and there's a lot of different types of investments. I would say two of the most basic types are either going to be stocks, where you're just investing in the stock market, you're buying one stock at a time, or you can invest in index funds, which is basically a big group of stocks and you're buying little pieces of each one. For example, you can buy a total stock market index fund, and let's say you spend $100 on that, you're going to get tiny little fractions of the stocks. So the main difference here is buying a stock is like buying a small piece of a company. But index and mutual funds are actually a little bit different. There's a bunch of different types of mutual funds and index funds, but for example, we will talk about the total US stock market index fund. So when you buy one share of this index fund, you are actually buying a small portion, a small fraction of each different company in the US stock market. Now, the reason you may want to go with an index fund or a mutual fund over just buying regular stocks is going to be because they're typically safer. So if you buy an index fund and one of the stocks tank and just does terribly, it's fine because you have a bunch of other stocks. You have a fraction of a bunch of other stocks in that index fund. So if one of them goes down, it's fine. It might affect you a little bit that day, but it's not going to ruin your overall portfolio. Whereas if you would have bought a bunch of stock in a specific company and then that company does terribly, all the stock that you had in that company is going to go down. And I also tend to think index funds are a lot safer and a lot better for the average person. So even Warren Buffett, who's the third richest person in the entire world, says most people should do index funds because even if you try to invest in your own stocks and pick stocks that you think are going to do better, typically overall you're not going to be able to do better than an index fund. And in most scenarios, most people actually do worse than if they would have just bought an index fund when they're trying to, make more money and game the system. They do worse than if they would have initially bought index funds and just invested their money there. So with that being said, we can go ahead and get started with investing. Now, to invest, I think the best way to do it nowadays is to use an app on your phone. And there are actually two different apps that I think are the two best apps when it comes to investing in the stock market. And those apps are Robinhood and M1 Finance. Now, I'm sure you've heard of Robinhood. I think everyone has heard of Robinhood by this point. And M1 Finance is actually a little bit different, so we'll talk about the differences right now. Like we talked about before, if you're interested in investing in index funds, which is what I would recommend for most people because it's a lot safer, and generally over long periods of time, if you just keep investing, that's going to be your best bet. So if you want to go with index funds, you're going to have to get the app M1 Finance. And the reason is that Robinhood actually does not allow you to invest in index funds. So Robinhood is more for buying stocks of companies. So if you want to go with index funds or mutual funds, M1 Finance is definitely the way to go. But if you're more interested in stocks, then Robinhood is definitely the way to go. Personally, I'm putting most of my stuff into M1 Finance. But occasionally I will use Robinhood because I do like the app a lot. So if you're interested in using M1 Finance, I have a link in the description, and if you use that link, we will both get $10 to go towards our investing. And if you're interested in using Robinhood and investing in actual stocks, then you can actually do that as well, and I also have a link in the description for that. And if you use that link, you'll get a free stock. And that stock could be anywhere between like $2.50 to I think $200. So now that you've chosen what app you want to use, and maybe you're using both, and all that's really left for you to do is add money to your account. So these apps are a little bit different, but basically with both of them, you deposit a certain amount of money. It could be like $100, it could be $10,000, however much you are ready to start investing. Deposit it into your account, into one of these apps, and then you can take your money from there and start investing it in stocks. And with M1 Finance, you're actually able to set up like auto investments. So I think you can do it like where monthly a certain amount of money gets invested into your portfolio. And the cool thing about M1 Finance is basically you set up one time what things you want to invest in. So for me, I did like the S&P 500, which is an index fund. I also did the total stock market index fund and a few other ones. And it basically makes a little pie chart, and basically you can set what percentage of each thing you want to invest in. So you could do, let's say for example, 50% S&P 500 and 50% total stock market index fund. And then you can set it up so whenever you put money in your account, it automatically invests it into those things. So it'll put 50% into one and then 50% in the other. Now with Robinhood, basically what you're going to want to do is go into the app and always look into what companies you're investing in, and make sure you feel really good about the company. Make sure you think it's really good and that they have a good future ahead of them. And basically with Robinhood, you just go on there, you type in the name of the company, and then you're able to buy stocks from there. It's very simple, and the app is very easy to use. Now, there's people that are going to give you different strategies on how to invest, and everyone says, they have a better way than the last person. And there's people out there trying to sell you like $1,000 course on how to invest. And before I even try to give you any advice, I just want to make it clear that I am not a financial advisor, and you may need to go speak to one. I'm just, telling you guys what I do and what my opinions are on this. And so with that being said, I think the best method for investing is going to buy for the long term. So I always buy index funds, and I buy them for, I'm not going to sell those funds for, 50 years. I just buy the fund and let it continue to grow for years and years. Through M1 Finance, I'm going to be getting the total stock market fund, the S&P 500, as well as they have a dividend fund. And I do actually want to mention dividends real quick. So dividend stocks are a little different than your traditional stock. So for example, stocks like the Amazon stock are like a growth stock. And then you have stocks like AT&T, for example. They are more dividend stock. So like with Amazon, the price of one single stock is over $1,000. Because it's a growth stock, the main goal of that company is just to make the stock price grow and grow and grow. Whereas a dividend stock, they're not as concerned with the price going up. Of course, they do want that to happen, but the good thing with a dividend stock is they're going to give you a percentage of the company's earnings every quarter. So basically, if you invest in dividend stocks, you're going to get paid every 3 months just for having the stock. Now, if you just have like one stock in a company, the payment is usually going to be pretty small. But if you're constantly investing in these companies and you have sort of a built up amount of stock in a company, you're actually able to get a pretty decent amount of money just from dividend stocks. And some people actually use this as a way to retire or as a way to live off the money. So they'll invest in dividend stocks, and then, every quarter they're getting paid from these companies, and they live off that money. And personally, right now, I'm just taking the dividends and reinvesting them. But it is an option that, you can either keep the money and use it for yourself, or you can reinvest it. And like I said, M1 Finance does actually have a dividend index fund. So that's one of the things that I'm personally investing in. Okay, so now that you know how to invest, and, I gave you a couple of strategies that I personally use, I hope this video really helped you out. And if it did, be sure to hit the like button and consider subscribing. I make videos like this all the time about a lot of different subjects talking about money. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them below in the comments, and I'll be sure to respond to you guys. I always respond to all the comments. I hope this video helped. Go watch some more of my videos, and I'll see you guys there.